Hey everyone, Dr. Yu here. Welcome to another lesson. Today we're going to look at the use of text features. Now I want to point out that we only have a few lessons left for the reading section, so we are almost there. All right, now in this lesson, you're going to learn how to find headings and subheadings and identify different text features such as legend, bold, italic, footnote, glossary, and then last use navigational tools in media such as search query, search engine. I don't have any content for the last bullet point because I think it's pretty straightforward and everyone has done some kind of search. You are all very familiar on how to use navigational tools in media to find relevant information. All right, now the reason that we need to look at text features is that these text features serve a wide range of purposes. They provide a clear organizational structure, provide additional information, and help readers locate certain information very quickly. You may see these kinds of questions on the TEAS test. For instance, in the preceding passage, which text feature highlights the course title? So you need to find which text feature has the course title. So this is just an example, right? It could be, different types of titles. But for this one, the example in the study manual is about a course announcement. So that's why it's about the course title. And next, which information is included in a sidebar? So we'll talk about what a sidebar is, what it looks like, and what kind of information it provides. Next, what is the meaning of the superscript? So you may see, superscript, and I just call them numbers on the shoulder. For example, you may see a sentence and talks about, let's say, Jackie, and there will be a superscript here. And usually it's associated with a footnote, which provides additional information. Last one, what is in the footnote? So you need to know where to find the footnote and then identify the information included in the footnote. Okay, so let's go over the definitions for some of the most common text features. The first one is title. Now, I'm sure you guys are familiar with what a title looks like, right? Title is probably, one of the most important thing for an article, and that's usually the very first thing on the top from the very beginning. The headings, subheadings. These are secondary headings that divide a section of a text, right? So this is for providing a clear organizational structure of the article, sometimes differentiated from a title by font color. So the headings, subheadings normally indicate the main idea of a section of a text, right? Once you divide the article into different sections, then you need a heading or subheading for that particular section, right? What's the main idea? What's the central idea of that section? That's the information you put in the heading and the subheading. Okay, I have an example here. There's really no real content here. You can see it's all just the word text. So this will be the title, right? And this will be the heading. Within this heading, the content is further divided to a few smaller sections, and each section has a subheading to indicate the main idea. Now let's look at bold print. So bold prints are usually words that are written in a dark and thick print. And often these words are defined in the glossary, right? If you're reading a real book, these words in bold print are usually defined in the glossary. Now, the bold print usually signals important vocabulary and or a phrase. So important words or phrases that are very important to understanding the content of the text. And some people may use bold print to emphasize certain words or phrases. I have an example here. So it says, the digestive system is made up of organs and glands that help your body process food. So you can see organs and glands are the two main components of the digestive system, right? So those two words are in bold. Now, the last one is italics. Italics are fonts that are slanted to the right within the main body of text. And usually italics indicate proper nouns. If you guys remember proper nouns, it's either a person or location or an organization, right? Yellowstone National Park, that's a pronoun. Or the World Health Organization, that's a proper noun. So usually italics indicate proper nouns and important vocabulary that the reader should emphasize when reading. So here is an example. He had managed to eat 10 cookies, right? So this is an emphasis pointed out how many this person had managed to eat. And second example, I love the word flabbergasted. So that's again for emphasis. All right. Now, next, a caption. So caption is text that's located near a graphic feature. So this could be a picture, a map, a diagram. And the caption explains what the graphic feature is. So I have an example here. Right? You can see this is a pretty big and seemingly complicated diagram, right? It's really a flow chart. So what is this flow chart about? You need to look at the caption right here. So this is a policy for the citation, mention, discussion, and illustration of an object in private or public collection. Okay, so that's the caption for this flow chart. Okay. Bullets. So I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with the bullet points, right? When you take a college course, if you have to make a presentation, right? On the slides, a lot of people tend to use a bullet points. So bullets are listed text that's indented and aligned using a dot. So I use dots a lot. It could be, a different symbol. And the bullet points really summarizes or lists the information in a text, but it's more organized, right? So this is about style of the text, right? It should include telegraphic, and that's due to two reasons. So you can list the two reasons in 2 bullet points. So instead of writing an entire paragraph, listing them as a bullet point gives the readers a very clear idea, right? The main point for each bullet point. All right, the last one on this slide is sidebars. So a sidebar contains additional text, usually within a box. Sometimes it's within a shaded background. If you look at a website, a lot of times the sidebars have a shaded background, right, to really attract a reader's attention. It's usually located on the sides. It could be on the top or bottom of a page. A sidebar provides additional details, facts, or information related to the text. So it's really a place that you can find some supplemental information that helps you understand or get complete information of what's on the main page. So here's an example of a sidebar, or it's written in a different language that I don't recognize. Okay, so you can see this is the main page, and this is the sidebar. And you can see there's some text here that provides additional information to the main content on the page. Okay, all right, that's caption, bullets, and sidebar. So next, photograph. So photograph may come with or without a caption. Now, usually there is a caption, because without a caption, you probably don't know what the picture is about, right? And this is very common in science. Now, so a photograph is a visual aid, right, to help readers visualize real events, steps, or objects. So this is a photograph of a giraffe, right? And you can see this is a caption for this image. So it explains, what animal is in the picture and some information about this animal. Okay, next is a map. So you guys all know what a map is. A map shows where something or someone is located, right, or trends for a geographic area like population. So a map is not just a geographic presentation, right? It could have a lot of additional information attached to it, right? Such as population, such as, average temperature of different locations. So you could add a lot of information to a map. So I have 2 examples here, and these maps are really just kind of show you the locations. They don't have any of the additional information I mentioned. So you can see this is a campus map on the right, and then the one on the left shows you where different towns are, different highways are. So these are just 2 kind of common types of maps that you will see. So diagram is a series of pictures with captions showing steps, stages, or progression of events. So with the diagram, you don't have to read any text, right? And then it really kind of simplifies this process for readers to understand what's going on, right? It's really kind of a visual way to explain things. So for example, in this picture, it shows you inhalation, right? So last is a chart or a table. So I have a table right here. That's an example table. I also have an example of a chart. So again, chart table, a chart or a table allows the readers to read very easily, right, and compare data related to the text. It has all the data in one place, so it's very easy to compare the data. So this is a big figure, and it has 4 sub-figures. Okay, so you can see A, B, C, and D. I mean, these 4 figures are all like different styles, right? But those are the common styles that we use in science, like using dots or bars or lines or boxes to show the data, to demonstrate the data. Okay, all right, so those are charts. Okay, last set of text features. First one, table of contents. When you read a book, right, you open the book, and usually at the beginning, you will see table of contents. And this really allows the reader to quickly find the topic. For example, if I want to read chapter 4, I'll just go to table of contents, right, find chapter 4, and I know, okay, I need to go to page 71, right? So this is a quick way to locate certain sections of the book. The next is an index. Now, if you have, textbook, toward the end of the book, you will see a section that's called index. So the index usually lists specific topics, events, names, and terms, and they're usually arranged in alphabetical order with page numbers. So this is more specific than the table of contents, right? The table of contents only kind of shows you the location of the big sections, like each chapter, but index can tell you where a specific term or specific topic is located in the book. So here is an example of an index, right? So you can see in this book, if I want to find the information on battery very quickly, I can go to the index, right? Find the term, the word battery, and I know, okay, so battery is mentioned on page 9 and page 38. So I would just check those 2 pages to get the information on battery. Now this will not be in the table of content, right? Table of content is very general. It's not going to tell you the location of a specific term. Okay, last one is glossary. So glossary is different than index. Glossary usually covers words written in a dark or thick print in the main body of text. So you can see this is an example of glossary. So it looks like this is a book that's related to environmental science. So if I see the term carbon footprint, I'm not sure what carbon footprint is about, and I want to find the definition for carbon footprint, then I will go to this glossary section. It's usually it's ranged alphabetically, just like index. So I'll just go to C and then find carbon footprint, and then this is the definition for this term. Okay, you probably noticed that I did not include superscript and footnote because a lot of times they're linked. So I do have a practice question on footnote and superscript. So that's covered, and we'll look at it in a moment. Okay, first practice question. You have 45 seconds. Okay, question 1. According to the index, where would you look for information on acetaminophen and antibiotics in this book? So remember, index, all the words and phrases are arranged alphabetically. So you will just go down the list and then find the words of interest. So acetaminophen is here, and antibiotics are at the very bottom, right here. So you need to go to page 108 and page 112. Okay, so the correct answer is C. All right, now if those two topics are kind of back to back, then you can combine the pages. If I say antibiotics is on page 108 all the way through page 121, okay? And then acetaminophen goes from 122 to 124. Okay? If that's the case, then your answer would be pages 108 to 124. Right? All right, question 2, again, 45 seconds. What terms from this section of the index would you expect to see on page 1 of this book? So you need to find all the topics that are on page 1 in this index. Okay, so that would be, so you can go down the list. Adopting a cat, that's on page 1. And American Pet Products Manufacturers Association, that's on page 1. And then last, statistics. So the correct answer is C, all of the above. Okay, next question, 45 seconds, different paragraph. All right, now this paragraph is related to anatomy and physiology. And I read this book into thin air. It's a very interesting book. And I just took out a paragraph and put it in here as a practice passage. So this is about this person, right, developing HAPE. So what does HAPE stand for? High altitude pulmonary edema, HAPE. Question number 1, what is in the footnote of the passage? So usually, this is the main text on the page, and there might be a divider here, and then any footnote will be placed at the bottom of the page. Now, I mentioned superscript earlier, right? So superscripts are usually numbers, but in this case, they use a star instead of, number 1 or 2 or 3. If there are several footnotes, then numbers may be used. So in this case, the footnote is for this particular sentence, right? It's a very long sentence about HAPE. So the root of the problem is believed to be a paucity of oxygen, compounded by high pressure in the pulmonary arteries, causing the arteries to leak fluid into the lungs. So what's this information about? So the correct answer is B. So this is not about symptoms, right? The symptoms are over here. Delirious, stumbling like a drunk, coughing up blood, froth. That's the symptoms. C, a description of treatment. So the treatment is in the last sentence. The real cure is rapid descent. You have to bring the patient down very quickly to lower elevations. So that's the treatment. D, additional details on what happened to that person that night? Not really, right? Again, the correct answer is B. It's about the cause behind HAPE. Okay, next question. This is about a map. So you have 45 seconds. Which of the following best describes the map? So if I ask you what a map is about, you need to look at the caption, right, which is right here. So this is a map of apartment complex. Correct answer is C. We'll move on to the next question. Same map. Which of the following information is included in the map legend? So this is the map legend, and it tells you what each number represents, right? So for example, number 1, which is this location, is a coffee shop, and say number 7, that's a maintenance. So the correct answer is D, what different numbers represent. Okay, last question about this map. Number 3, if you are currently at the tennis court, how would you get to the community pool? So in order to answer this question, you have to find the tennis court first. So read the legend, and you know tennis court is number 8, right? So you are here, and you need to get to the community pool. Community pool is number 3. So locate number 3 on the map. So it's in this direction. This is how you can get to the community pool. Now, most of the maps, I have to say, in most cases, this up arrow up indicates north. Okay. That's the standard for maps. But in this case, it's a little bit tricky because you have the directions here and you clearly see that this up direction is west, not north. So this is a weird map, but I just want to have this kind of to practice so that you don't assume anything. You will have to read the map in order to get the question right. So the correct answer is go west, right? Go up on the map, so that's towards west. All right, this is the different map. And again, you have 45 seconds. So this is a very good example where additional information is added to the map, right? The map doesn't just show locations, it shows you population size and population density. So when you look at the legends here, you need to know that it has 2 kinds of information. First, the colors indicate population density. Density, that's how many persons per area. So in this map, they show density in 2 different units. So the numbers on the left, that's number of persons per square mile. And then the numbers on the right, that's number of persons per square kilometer. Because different countries use different unit systems, so that's why there are 2 ways to show the density. And the second type of information is population size, right? And that's specifically for cities. Okay, so it's not for countries, but it's for cities. And in this case, they use the size of the dots to indicate the population size. So the bigger the dots are, the higher the population is. Okay, so question 1, what does the size of the black dots in the map represent? So like I said earlier, they represent population size of a city. It's not about population density because population density is indicated by colors. And economic growth, there's nothing about economic growth, right? There's no such information in the legend. So you know that the map has nothing to do with economy. Land area of a city. So again, this is not mentioned in the map legend. Question 2. Question 2, which of the following information best describes the map? So this question tests your ability to read the map and then analyze the information. So this is a little bit harder. So let's go through the answer choices backwards. D, the shape and area of a country are good indicators of population density. So it talks about population density, so you need to look at the colors, right? So is shape and area good indicators? Not really, right? Because when you look at here, these are all pretty big countries, but you can see most of those countries are sparsely populated, right? Because it's a very light color, indicating that not many people are living in those areas. So D is not correct. C, the northern coastal area was sparsely populated. So this is north, right? And then you can see the coastal area, this is densely populated because the colors are darker, brighter, right? Indicating higher population density. And over here, that's pretty dense as well. So C is not correct. B, almost every country in Africa had a city with a population over 1 million or more in 2000. So this is the 2000 data. Is that correct? Look at this country right here. There's no big dot, right? Because remember, over 1 million or more, that has to be the big black dot, not the small dot. Oops. Oh, okay, that's even better. This is bigger. So this country does not have a big dot right here. This country does not have a big dot, and even this big one in the center doesn't have a big dot, right? No big dot, no big dot, no big dot, no big dot. So a lot of these African countries don't have very large cities with 1 million people or more. So B is not correct. A, the majority of Africa in 2000 had population density at 65 persons per square mile or lower. Look at this number, 65 or lower. So when you look at the legend, you know 65 or lower are going to be these 3 lightest colors. When you look at the map, the majority of Africa in this map have one of those 3 colors, right? So that means the majority of Africa do have population densities at 65 or lower. So A is the correct answer. Okay, move on to the next question. It's a different photographic representation. So you have 45 seconds to answer the first question. All right, so this is part of the whole diagram or whole file. I just did a screenshot and put in here, so it's not the complete file. But you can see from the title, this is a protocol about collecting, preparing, and shipping serum samples to CDC for serology testing. The first question is, which of the following information can be found in the sidebar? For this protocol, there is a lot of information, right? A lot of details. It might be helpful to have a sidebar to provide some important information that you can't fit in the main text, but you also want to emphasize. So that's what's going on here. This is a sidebar. It is on the side and it's in a shaded box, right? To kind of attract your attention. So in this sidebar, it talks about how much dry ice you should use for shipping, right? It depends on how long the shipping takes. If it's a 1 day, then you need about 6 pounds of dry ice. So you can use this formula to calculate. If if the shipping takes 2 days, then you need twice of that amount, right? So that's going to be 12 pounds. If it's 3 days of shipping, then you're going to need 18 pounds of dry ice. So the correct answer is C. How much dry ice is needed for shipping? So for this question, as long as you can locate where that sidebar is, then you can find the correct answer. Okay, next question is about the same content. Question 2, which of the following information is in bold for emphasis in the text? You can see there are a few places that the text is in bold. Over here, CDC Emergency Operations Center, contact information, and the notes here are also in bold because those are important notes. And then the last place is going to be here, the CDC, a particular CDC form. So a title. Now, the title, it does not count as text being bold, just because, title has a bigger font size than the main text. And a lot of times it's a different, style as well. So don't include the title. B, emergency CDC contact, that's the correct answer. All right, one more question. All right. I designed this question so that you can, train yourself to locate a specific piece of information very quickly from a protocol. So this question asks about which of the following best describes the purpose of using absorbent material in packaging. So that's what the first step is about, right? It's all about how to package the specimen. So it says insert absorbent material into sealable plastic bag. And then explains here, use enough absorbent material to absorb the entire contents of the plastic vials if there is a leak or spill, right? So the absorbent materials are put in there to absorb any leak or spill if that happens. So the correct answer is A. There's really no mentioning of the other three, right, when it explains why you need absorbent material. So B and C and D are not relevant. Okay, all right. I think that's the last question. Yes. Good job, guys. We'll see you next time.